Hello everyone and welcome back to the Adobe Premiere Pro tutorial series. Today we're going to be looking at how we can actually edit our footage. So last week we looked at how we can import footage, and this week we're going to look at the very basics of the timeline and some of the tools you can use there. So if you've got any questions, as always, please leave them below, but let's get started. Okay everyone, so we're going to start by opening up Premiere Pro, and this is where we have the test project. So last week we imported some files which you can see in our library on the left hand side. Next to the library is our timeline, and this is where we're going to start putting our shots together, and hopefully we can start constructing our work. So this is going to be my first shot. So simply click on here and drag it in to position like this. So something to keep in mind is that the first shot that you put into your timeline, it might change the size of the frame. So these shots are HD, they're high definition. And here it says, the clip does not match the sequence's settings. Change sequence to match the clip settings. So I'm going to change the settings to make it HD. But by doing so, when I put this shot in, it's now much smaller because the quality doesn't match. So next week, I'm going to show you how you can change this. But for now, I'll show you it's just on scale. And we can increase the scale. Excuse me, my computer's going a bit strange. We can slide that up to slot in. So now this might be a little bit grainy. The quality might not be great. But just keep that in mind. Sometimes the quality of your shots will be different. And either you can change the size of the frame to fit your shot, or you can change your shot to fit the frame, whichever you prefer. Okay. So let's get cracking with the editing today. The first thing we're going to look at is this sidebar where you can see lots of different icons. So there's a lot to look at here, but all we're going to really examine today is the selection tool, which is this arrow here. And this is what you should use when you're navigating around Premiere Pro. You can click on shots, you can hold down and move them, you can push play, start, go back. And then we're also going to look at what's called the razor tool. Okay, so the razor tool is what we use to make edits or cuts. So if we click here, you can see I've now turned that one shot into two separate files. And it is a good idea to always keep this as your go-to when you're in Premiere Pro. Always keep the selection tool, because you might make a mistake and accidentally cut up your work. If you do, it's not a huge problem. Command Z is undo, and that will hopefully help you avoid making any huge mistakes. There are some other tools that we might look at in later videos. I often use these tools here for writing directly on the work. The rectangle tool is really useful, and obviously the type tool, you can use this to write directly onto your work. Okay, so looking at our first shot. So it's quite difficult to edit when it's so far zoomed out. So what we're going to do, this bar at the bottom can help us zoom in and zoom out. So we can either see all of our project, or we can zoom in and make it really precise. So this first bit we don't need. This is just me getting ready. So I think it looks good there. What you can do, you can use the arrows on your PC to move frame by frame, or you can use these arrows here to do exactly the same. So maybe that's fine. And here I've got two options. I can click here on this red arrow and I can drag my work and shrink it in place. So now this is the beginning of the video.
Hello everyone and welcome to the video.
Okay, so that's option 1. Option 2, we can use the razor tool and we can make our cut. Let's say we want it here. And then we can delete what we don't need. And you might have noticed Adobe will automatically make the cuts for the visual, which is the V1 here, and the audio, the A1. Okay, so these two files are linked together, and they will you'll make those edits at the same time on both the audio and the visual. So the lip sync, so long as you recorded at the same time, will always be correct. Okay, so obviously shrinking the files is nice and easy, but if I want to make an edit in the middle, it's impossible for me to do it like that. So I'd use my razor tool, click here, bosh, and move ahead to here. Again, this is just an example. And I've now made this other file right in the middle. So I can delete this, click on this file, and then it will automatically snap into place when you get over here. Okay, so that's why this is so important, this magnet looking tool here. If this is not on, it doesn't do that, so it might overlap from your work. Okay, so although we're not looking at these advanced tools just yet, make sure that this magnet tool, this is selected blue. It will make your editing so much easier and it will snap straight into place. Okay, so this is basically how we edit. So I don't want this last bit here. And then this screen recording, there is no audio, as you can see. And obviously the size of this is a little bit smaller because we've upgraded the size of this. So one thing to be very careful of, the visual or the audio that is on a higher channel, so visual 1, now this is on visual 2, this will go over the top of your work, which, you know, sometimes could look cool if you want to do it like this and have a little window in the top corner. You know, that might look quite good. We can even put a shadow on that later on, or a border.
And that's it. That's all we'll do today. It'll be nice and easy.
Oh, sorry, my PC's a bit slow, so you couldn't see it, but I promise you it's there. So be careful that you don't overlay frames that you don't want to be there, or if you put the text underneath this frame, then this will be the dominant frame and everything else will be hidden. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind. But we're going to leave it there today. So that is the very basics of editing. Drag your footage onto here, move it around with the selection tool, and then you can make edits by zooming in like so, getting to exactly the frame you don't want. So there we go. Back to the selection tool and deleting your work. You can then drag this shot together and it will snap into place, so long as you have this tool selected. Okay, so that's everything for this week. If you have any questions, please let me know. Next week, we're going to start looking at how we can manipulate these we can change the scale by zooming in and out. We can change the position, left to right, up and down. We can even rotate our work like this. So we're going to look at some of those tools next week. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, please let me know. But have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much.